welcome. Good to have you join us. This is Sports Tonight. We're broadcasting live from Channels TV Sports Center in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Austin Okonakwan on the show tonight. Nigeria today strengthened the bid to host the 2020 FIFA Women's Under-20 World Cup with the inspection of facilities in Lagos and Benin. Infrastructure development, a big problem for Nigeria, but can they pull it through? Can they put together a world-class event? Well, FIFA officials today, they were a bit impressed with some of the facilities that they saw, but it's a race against time to see if the country will fine-tune all of those preparations for the bid for that FIFA Women's Under-20 World Cup. We'll talk about it on the show tonight. I worked with the team to see some of the facilities in Lagos, and then they went to Benin, where more assurances continue to pour as regards that bid. We'll talk about it on Sports Tonight. Tomorrow in Lagos, it's going to be the best of table tennis in Africa. Aaron Quadri is under so much pressure to retain his title. Egypt, Tomasa, and his counterparts, they are not smiling. It was an all-Egypt final, men's final, women's final, dominated by the Egyptians. Nigerian players are not smiling. They didn't like that. So let's see if they can bounce back when the Nigeria Open serves off tomorrow right here in Lagos. We'll talk about it. I caught up with the president of the African Table Tennis Federation, and he says, look, Lagos brings a special feeling to the competition. He's also looking forward to it and is confident that it's going to be a good outing. Table tennis will get our attention tonight on the program. We'll also talk about the 2018-2019 Nigerian Women's Premier League. March Day 3 fixtures will go down tomorrow. Dream Stars ladies, can they get their first win when they take on their opponents at the Agege Stadium tomorrow? That's the big question. We'll talk about it. We'll also talk about the Nigeria Professional Football League. It has gotten a September 22nd kickoff dates, and football followers are saying, will it really happen? Will we see that date come to pass? So we'll continue to monitor that one on the show tonight. We'll talk about Koscielny. He's leaving Arsenal. Arsenal fans, are you aware? One of the top defenders already leaving. We'll talk about it on the show tonight. Wayne Rooney is not done. He's joining Derby County as a player coach. It's still part of the silly season. Before the window closes, we're going to be hearing a lot of this information about Harry Maguire. Wow, everyone's still talking about in the world's most expensive defender after signing for Manchester United for a record-breaking fee of £80 million. Everyone is talking about that one. Everybody that follows football, you cannot ignore that record-breaking transfer fee. We'll talk about it also on the show tonight. I'll also let you know what's going on with sports development in Nigeria. We're getting ready for the African Games in Rabat, Morocco. Athletes are camped in Abuja and in Lagos over the weekend. The permanent secretary visited the camp in Lagos to see how the athletes are getting ready and, of course, set the record straight on some of the issues that have been raised as regards athletes' welfare, infrastructure development. So I said, look, Pam said, put yourself together, go to Abuja studio, and let's talk about sports development in Nigeria. So it should be seated at about this time. We'll have that robust discussion just to set the record straight. What's the country doing as regards sports development? That will get our attention big time on this show. Walk with us. Don't go anywhere. And if you have questions for the permanent secretary of the Ministry for Youth and Sports Development, bring it on the show tonight. I'm here to pass it on to him. You can talk to us. Our feedback mechanisms, they're still the same. Yes, you can talk to us on Twitter. We're channels_sports, Facebook channels-sports. You can send us an email, sportstonight@channelstv.com. It doesn't end there. All our top stories can be viewed on our website. It's channelstv.com, and on YouTube/channelsweb. Log on to m.channelstv.com. Download the Channels TV app for any of those devices. It will pop up on your screen, your iPad, your iPhone, your BlackBerry, your iOS, your Windows phones, and your Android phones. Let's talk about sports development in Nigeria. It's going to be an interesting discussion tonight, and I want you to be part of the show. Send us questions, comments, suggestions. What are the ways that we can improve, that sports can get better in Nigeria? And remember, I keep telling you guys that everything rises and falls on leadership. So we want to make sure that we're getting it right administratively, and it's going to have a ripple effect down to athletes' performance. Just the discussion tonight. Talk to Sports, Twitter, channels_sports, Facebook channels, Life in Sports, or send us an email, sportstonight@channelstv.com. So much is going down in our world of sports. Before we go to our studio in Abuja, let me let you know that tomorrow in Lagos, the 2019 Nigeria Open will serve off. It will really get all of us talking, particularly followers of table tennis in the country. Nigeria's Aruna Quadri is the defending champion, but after losing to Omar Assar in the semi-final of the African Cup, the Lagos fans, they said the Pharaoh is back because Omar Assar loves playing table tennis in Lagos. Let me welcome Femi Fabumi is with me in the studio. Femi, it's good to have you on Sports Tonight.
Good evening, Austin. Aruna Quadri, we know it's quite unfortunate, but then it didn't finish badly. A third place for Aruna Quadri is not that bad. Yeah. We know Egypt, when it comes to tennis, they are a regional force in Africa. They've consistently kept the likes of Aruna Quadri, Funke Oshonaike, Shegun Toluola on their toes. Yeah. So I'm not surprised. We just pray that Aruna Quadri gets back his groove and mojo.
Ladies and gentlemen, sports fan, it was an all Egypt final. Men, Egyptian in the men's final. Women's final, same thing. Dina Meshref won that one for the women, and of course, Omar Assar, who is back, loves jumping on the table tennis board. After winning, he did the same thing after beating Aruna Quadri in the semifinals, and of course, his counterpart, his compatriots in the final to win. And so, Dina Meshref and Omar Assar will represent Africa at the Table Tennis World Cup. Khaled Elsa, he is the president of the African Table Tennis Federation. I had a chat with him today, and I asked him what should we be expecting from the 2019 Nigeria Open. What are the objectives? And this is what I had to say. Let's listen to him.
Success than before. Top players are coming due to the great image of Nigeria Open in the previous years. Very good hospitality of Lagos to all the players and the organizers. I'm sure that we are coming to a fantastic event, and I wish full support to the top stars from Africa in this event, Aruna Quadri and all the Nigerians and Egyptians and Algerians and Tunisians who are here to continue after the African Cup in Nigeria Open.
In what way does Lagos make the tournament special?
I believe the table tennis is in blood of Nigerians and in Lagos people. We find that spectators are coming from day one, making full house in the venue. Table tennis seems is in the blood of the Nigerians and in the Lagos people. I wish them to have a very good interest of the event in the coming 5 days. And I'm sure that they will welcome all the players from all over the world coming to test the Nigerian hospitality.
So that's what it is. Get ready. The president of the African Table Tennis Federation just reminded you that it's going to be a bumper fest of table tennis. And he says, look, the Lagos, they love table tennis. It's in their blood. When you go to the Molade or Okoya Thomas Hall to watch table tennis and you see the fans, you're like, wow. They love their table tennis.
Yeah, I think apart from football and maybe basketball, table tennis is another sport that interests the entirety of Nigerians. And like he rightly mentioned, that this is an avenue to test the hospitality of Nigerians. And I'm very, very sure that we will be a very good host in this competition. And then we hope to see Aruna Quadri, bounce back in this one.
Okay, let's wait and see what Aruna Quadri can do when the tournament serves off tomorrow right here in Lagos. It's the best of table tennis, the 2019 Nigeria Open. Let's go to our studio in Abuja. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry for Youth and Sports Development, Olushade Adeshola, is standing by in our studio. We want to talk about the development of sports in Nigeria. Good evening, PEMSEC. Welcome to Sports Tonight.
Thank you, Austin.
Thank you.
Good evening, Nigerians.
Thank you so much for making our time to come on the program. Let's begin this way. How can you describe sports in Nigeria in 2019?
Yes, the sports in 2019 has been a great event. For us in the ministry, we started the year on a good note. In the month of January, we started with the Para-Powerlifting Invitational Tournament. It was not a championship, but it went a long way to showcase the capability of Nigeria to host championships of the para-powerlifting athletes. And as a result of our impressive performance at that competition, Nigeria has been able, through the federation, to bid to host a major championship of the para-powerlifting come this year. We left that one. We went for the various football tournaments, championship of the FIFA, the finals. We just returned from AFCON, where we gave a good impression of ourselves. And our federations have also been doing very great. The Badminton Federation there in Port Harcourt in the month of May hosted the African Championship, where we also demonstrated our skills and capacities. And as you just mentioned, Nigeria is also hosting the Triple Challenge of the ITTF. These are all indications that Nigeria is doing great in sports in 2019. The icing on the cake is that we'll be going for the 12th Africa Games in Morocco come from effective 16th to 31st of August 2019.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that at that start. Let's continue with the progress. Look, putting together a competition, Permanent Secretary, requires so much. Infrastructure is one of them. Right now, FIFA officials are in Nigeria inspecting facilities because Nigeria is bidding to host the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. But we have a lot of facilities that are rotting away. What is the ministry doing? What's the plan to get infrastructure working in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. A lot is also being done in that regard. We are not unmindful of that. For instance, we got approval to concession some of the stadium facilities of government. We are starting out with Lagos and some of the auxiliary facilities of Abuja National Stadium. The strategy is to start first and see how it succeeds. And if this case is successful, then we can now replicate it in other stadia or the federal government. You know, generally the challenge with managing sporting facility in Nigeria is deeper than just meet the eye. Except for the city of Lagos, perhaps Abuja, Port Harcourt, and few other cities, to major sporting events, you don't even have the spectators. And you cannot run stadium profitably where the spectators are not there to pay for the use of those facilities. However, the initiative to concession, starting with Lagos, will enable us to test the water and see how we can make the stadium more viable. We hope to conclude this process in this 2019. Thereafter, we'll be able to replicate as the need arises.
You visited the athletes for the 2019 African Games in Lagos. What's the condition? What did you see in camp? Permanent Secretary, did you like the state in which you found the athletes?
Not just, you know, we have about 6 camp cities for the Africa Games, preparation for the Africa Games. We have in Port Harcourt, we have in Abuja, we have Lagos, we have in Gombe, we have in Kaduna. I've visited nearly all of them except Gombe. In general, the athletes are quite in good spirits. The facilities available, they are making good use of them. And generally, the facilities we have enable them to train. It may not be the best of standard, but all these are work in progress. I believe we get there someday. You see that we have made more progress in the development of some of these facilities than before because the equipment requirement, the basics ones, they are provided with, and I think that is where it is. And what was the motive in separating or engaging more centers? We identify where we have better facilities for those specific games. Our athletics are in Kaduna. They are camping Kaduna. You know that the final of the our Premier League, the FA Cup, was played in Kaduna there. Using these facilities, the athletes so far so good. They are making good use of them, and I think it is okay. However, they can all be improved on.
I've spoken to some foreign athletes on the show, Blessing Okagbare, Toby Loba Amuson, Ese Brume, and just recently, Sheye Ogunlewe, our permanent secretary. They are speaking the same language, poor welfare. They don't even know if they will compete at the African Games. Why is it so?
Thank you very much. I don't think anyone will say they don't, the welfare matter is not being attended to. We have always mentioned to them, because we are in engagement with them too. We told them that under the current administration, no athlete has represented the country and their due entitlement had not been provided. In 2018, we went to the Gold Coast Games, in the Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast. All the athletes, foreign and home-based, were all paid their entitlement. The complaint by some of these foreign athletes is that what they were owed in 2015 were not paid. 2015 is not 2018. In 2018, we went to Commonwealth Games. We participated in Youth Olympic Games. We participated in African Youth Games. Every athlete were paid their entitlement. And this has been the practice since then till date. So why should you be jittery? Or why should you call on the ministry for things that were done in the past? We said, no, let us put it right. For this competition, we have budget that was approved by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari for these games. And this will be utilized for the purpose for which it was appropriated. This is arrangement. But some of them said, no, paid our training fee before we arrived. How do I know that an offshore athlete that is coming is not coming with injury? That he will get there, he will tell us that he can only compete in one event. Or that he will say, I cannot compete at all. Some of them came to Asaba, they could not compete. Some of them came to Gold Coast, they said, no, we can only compete in one event. When you come for the event, you compete, your entitlement are paid to you. Winning bonuses are paid, and offshore training grants are also paid. You know, this is the basis for offshore training grants, as I know it. Our home-based athletes are sponsored by the ministry to participate in various championships and tournaments across the globe. The foreign-based athletes are not usually invited for that purpose. So when participating in this event, when they are invited for these games, we know they are going there to participate and that they have gone through training at their own expense. So we supplement whatever they have spent by what the nation is able to provide them. And we told them, this is what we are giving to you. Ordinarily, I would have loved to mention all these allowances. But you know, it may not be fair to some athletes, because people may start demanding from them what they did not even earn. But through their federations, we had informed them their entitlement, as they were paid in previous games, they will all be paid. We have provision for them.
Okay, so we'll hold on to your word, but let's talk about basic concern, like the ministry reaching out to athletes. For instance, Divine Odudura has been representing the country so well, running good time. Sheye Ogunlewe doing the same thing. Ese Brume just made a personal best over the weekend. Blessing Okagbare has been on fire this year. We're talking about basic concern because they are the country's ambassadors. What's the ministry doing to at least just make them feel special? Because all of them keep saying the same thing, that they don't even get calls from the ministry.
Thank you. There is a division of labor in all this. Federations are there to interface with their athletes. By the time the ministry leaves the federation and starts interfacing with the athletes, we'll be taking over the responsibility of the federations from them. But in unusual circumstances or situations that may call for it, ministry had come in to intervene. These are exceptions rather than the norm. I remember one of the athletes, the foreign-based athletes that you mentioned, complained that her health, she has expended so much on her health, she had done this. In 2018, ministry paid her some amount for this, and it's sizable sum. You see, we will not want to announce this thing, but the individual know themselves and they know the support the ministry has given to them. But let us even come to it, sir. Where did they start from?
Let's just pause. We will
Which
continue.
platform did they rise to get?
We will continue. We'll continue. Just stay right there. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, the Permanent Secretary will continue where it stops. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us. Welcome back to Sports Tonight on Channels Television. We're discussing the development of sports in Nigeria. Our special guest is the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry for Youth and Sports Development, Olushade Adeshola. Let's go back to our studio in Abuja. You're trying to address some of the issues as regards training, grants, and support for athletes. I'll let you continue with that.
Well, thank you very much. I want to, as I did start, I said it is not really correct for the athletes to say they were abandoned. I mentioned that some of the athletes that we even mentioned in 2018 were paid some amount by the ministry as part of, to complement the expenditure on their health when they complained to the ministry. And as I did say, the federations are there to interface with their athletes. It will not be right for the ministry to leave the federation to look over the federations and be relating with these athletes. This will breed indiscipline and lack of respect for their federations. We just have to allow things be done properly. Then when the situation calls for it, the federations have often called on the ministry to intervene, and we do from time to time. Let me give you some instances this year. Through our partnership with India, we succeeded in getting 2 scholarship slots for athletes in the cricket sport. They will soon go. We have about 7 Nigerian youth in Japan undertaking training in various sports, such as table tennis, basketball, and the like. We also have, this year, the Nigeria Olympic Committee secured an extended scholarship to about 50 Nigerian youth in various sports. I will not be surprised tomorrow when this individual rise to stardom, they will also turn around and say Nigeria has not done anything for them. Look at it. In certain climes, what athletes only get from their country is the shirt, the platform that enables them to excel. When they get this platform, this is the basic thing that the government provides them the training, provide them the enabling environment to enable them to excel. And on their own, in appreciation, they bring back to the community that has supported them.
But then,
this is what I expect our international athletes to be doing now.
And
to bring back to the country, come home, support the athletes that are home, the upcoming ones, so that they too can grow.
Yeah, Pamsek, I agree with you. But those countries where they don't always talk about grants and monies is because they have created an enabling environment. And our athletes, they also go there and they thrive. For instance, Sheye Ogunlewe wanted to get clarity on training grants because athletes need grants to train. They're going for the African Games, for instance. After that is the World Championships in Doha. How do they get ready? How do they prepare?
Their federations always make available to us such requests. If there are any genuine requests, let them channel it. Remember, they are not sleeping there. They work and they earn income with which they develop themselves. When they participate in this championship, they are paid. Are the money just for savings? They are not to use it to develop yourself? Look at it. You are working here. Your employer provides you the camera at the enabling environment. Will you expect them to buy you biro, to buy you shoe, to buy you tie? You have to invest in yourself to dignify your profession. In the same way, I am a permanent secretary in the Federal Civil Service. Will I expect government to buy me biro, buy me even the hand with which to write? Let us put it in perspective. Some countries lesser than us in Africa, I have been to some tournaments that the country could not even afford to send officials to accompany their athletes. The athletes came, sponsored by the president of their federations. What do they expect from them? Nothing much. We have gone to some situations where athletes came, Nigeria even had to support them. But when you see the zeal with which these people still came to represent their country, you marvel at it. But in our own case, every time it is not that they are not even being paid. But they say no. Some of them said they must be paid before even they leave their homes. Okay, if I pay you, I pay somebody that I have not seen and he comes with injury. How do I explain that? Or somebody now, you pay him, he refused to come. We said, come to the venue. What will be agreed? We are sending the amount to the federations. Their federations will see it. Remember, gold is gold, irrespective of who wants it. Gold is always gold. So rather than bickering on those issues, I want to encourage these athletes to look at the greater perspective and what the country has even done for them. There are 180 million population in Nigeria estimated. If we say 50% of these are youth, we have 50 million youth. And if the facilities are available, you can just imagine the number of sportsmen and women that will turn out. Our belief in the ministry is that we should produce more of these professional athletes that will go there, earn income from offshore, and bring back home to develop our country as well. Not just to be spending from here.
Sounds good. Sounds good. There have also been accusations by different federations. They said to me, Austin, we are running the Ministry of Youth and Football. They say it's not sports. What is the ministry doing to give support to that? We know Nigeria. We love our football. But what are we doing, particularly with sports that have shown signs that they are doing so well? Table tennis, badminton, squash. You mentioned cricket. What's the ministry doing to empower those sports so that they keep the development process going?
I think the narration has changed. We have Ministry of Youth and Sports now, not Ministry of Football and Sport Development. We have Ministry of Youth and Sports. And statistics attest to this. For instance, in 2016, our federations hauled in just about 216 medals. This rose marginally to 222 in 2017. But in 2018, the medals hauled by our federations collectively amounted to over 700. This can only be realized in a nation that pays attention to its sport. For now, Nigeria leads Africa in badminton. It was not so. For now, Nigeria is the African champion in wrestling. We are the African champion in weightlifting. In parapowerlifting, we are the African champion. The parapowerlifting has just returned from Kazakhstan. The weightlifting are going to Thailand. The wrestling are going to Kazakhstan. All these have been funded by government. Of course, what this consumes is not commensurate with their need. But by and large, government has continued to support the federation. You recall that we are also the champion in chess, in Scrabble. We won Scrabble back to back. Their participation in that event or in those championships had been made possible by the ministry. So the ministry is doing a lot to support its federation. Even the less known sport, lest I forget, cricket. You know, cricket is not our strength. But currently, we won the Africa Championship in cricket, and we are one of the two countries that will be representing the continent in the cricket championship later in 2019. So if we have been supporting even the sports that are not well known, that shows that the ministry is not just for football. But you know the passion that football attracts. The actors in sports. All of us turn out to be footballers, either as commentators, analysts, or whatever form that we are supporting in when it is football. But go to the stadium, to any stadium when we are hosting other sporting activities. The table tennis that is going on currently, you get there are no spectators. Whereas there are no gate takings for people to come in. This is even because it is hosted in Lagos. Let it be hosted outside Lagos. You will not see anybody. Even in Abuja at times, you have to even look for vehicles, hire vehicles to bring in spectators from outside the city so that the stadium could be a little sizable. So if spectators are not coming, the sports are not generating enough resources, it is difficult to support them. We are also addressing this issue. We are looking at how we can repackage these sporting events to make them attractive to sponsors, to the corporate community. For instance, we are engaging with Nigeria Economic Summit Group to support us in marketing and repackaging our sports so that they could be in such a way that will make them attractive. Because if they are generating that revenue on their own, they will not even look onto the ministry. They will be self-sustaining and be able to continue to support.
Sounds good. It sounds good.
But meanwhile,
Permanent
since that has
Secretary,
not been
I want to understand part of the questions that federations raise. What's the yearly budget? Just put a figure to it. What do we give to federations in a year to run the activities?
The federations do not have budget of their own yet. It is only Nigeria Football Federation that stands on its own and has its own budget. All the others are subsumed in the ministry and are provided funding from within the ministry. Occasionally, though, some of them may have specific events that are provided for and are funded accordingly. So, in terms, what we are also doing is to see that most of these federations, especially those of them that are big enough, could pursue the process that will enable them to be on their own and be able to attract budgetary resources to themselves. We have commenced that process.
Before I let you go, let's just touch base with grassroots sports development. What are the long-term plans for that one in Nigeria?
Yes, we have a very robust plan for grassroots sport development. We started, I think, in 2015. 2014 specifically, when we started the annual National Youth Sports Program. We have held 4 editions of this. It's an annual event. The 5th edition will be held in Ilorin in the month of September, specifically from 7 to 17. It has really paid off because products of this event have grown, and some of them are currently representing the country at continental and international events. You know, we also extend the tentacles to the services because some of these security agencies have, by virtue of their training, are engaged in continuous sport development, but are not using it for competitive sport. What we did is to initiate a program that brings them together to compete and they identify talents that are now also being deployed into competitive sport. The Shooting Federation, for instance, is mainly dominated by men of the services. So we are also encouraging competition at the schools level. And this year, the ministry is resuming the hosting of zonal and intra-zonal competitions. This is to increase the opportunity for the grassroots to be mainstream into sporting activities.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Permanent Secretary, Ministry for Youth and Sports Development. I'll get you into the studio again right after the African Games so we can review it. Thank you so much.